take a spooky dookie.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to what I would do if they let me design the new speculated death pack.
It's showtime.
Just some fun little thoughts and ideas to spark hope and joy for the upcoming pack. To set the tone, I am thinking creepy, ooky spooky, pastel goth. I'm kind of tired of cool and interesting stuff that is very akin to real life. I don't know about y'all, but I just want something dumb, magical, and pink as fuck, okay? I'm talking high fantasy. So high, you're in step with Snoop Dogg. Picture a string of islands floating over a deep, dark ocean. For Cass, I want a mix of pastel goth and ethereal being, like one of those webtoons that takes place in a magical world where the dresses don't quite fully belong to any one period or place. The build buy would be perfectly suited for everything from a hobbit cottage to a dramatically sprawling castle to a bog witch's cozy shack. And I want full-on honest-to-goodness swamps, okay, with so many mushrooms and all of the moss, but also like pastel. Is this resonating? Arguably the most important part of any new pack is the gameplay. For this one, I'm thinking they go really heavy on celebration of lives with different types of celebrations. If this world is going to be set in a high fantasy setting, it can embrace just about any global celebration that's out there, and there are a ton that just aren't represented at all in The Sims. I think it would be really cool to see them represented in this way. We already have New Orleans, so it obviously just makes sense to add jazz festivals and jazz parades as a celebration of life, or just a way of celebrating anything, really. It also just makes sense to have Sims have last rites where they can write wills and gather their loved ones to say goodbye. We also have no way of talking to the deceased after they are passed on unless it's as a ghost, and I think that's kind of wrong. I would love to see interactions on gravestones, epitaphs, and urns that let us just kind of communicate with the dead and really process our thoughts. As someone who's had a person pass on in their life, I don't really feel like how they pass on in The Sims is accurately represented to the range of emotions that you feel for a long time afterwards. Obviously, the most important part of this pack is the Grim Reaper. He is one of the most beloved characters in the entire Sims 4 game, and currently the only way to play as the Grim Reaper is to download him from the gallery. And even though this one is cool because he can do anything any other Sim can do, I don't think most of us want Grim that acts like a Sim. I think we want Grim to be, well, an occult. Duh. But I think, hear me out. This could go either way. Either the Grim needs to be an occult with a skill tree, or being a Grim Reaper needs to be a career. And honestly, there are pros and cons to both of those things, right? If the Grim Reaper is an occult, then that means you could potentially have your normal Sim become Grim, and then over time, as they progress in reaping skill points, they can have special skills that they develop along the way, like being able to resurrect any Sim no matter how long it's been since that Sim has passed. Maybe they can set a Sim's age. They could freeze aging. They can grant immortality. They could do like an insta-kill. They could be bribed to kill instantly and then maybe make some money that way. But I think there's a lot that we're just not embracing. There's also a lot of opportunity for new deaths in this pack. Like, I could easily think of 15 off the top of my head, but my favorite is the idea that there's maybe a plant that can only be grown by Sims with this gardening skill level of 7 or higher. Once they grow that plant, they can either bake it into cookies, and those cookies will kill somebody, or they could bake it into a tea, and if you serve that tea to somebody, it could grant them immortality. It could go either way. And then we have the option to have some really cool new teapots, because I'll never have enough teapots in this game. And I want one that's very kawaii and very cute. And I want one that is very ethereal and just super cool looking. As a base game update, I think they should add bands to the base game. And hear me out. I don't want this as a pack, because if we get it as a pack, we'll only get more of the same instruments we already have. But if we do it in this pack or as part of the base game, we can get instruments for like jazz bands, and then we can use bands and form them like clubs. We could play at weddings or funerals. You can jam for tips. Lastly, I want to talk about new life. I also think this is a great time to add stuff for newborns, right? Can't have death without new life. And what better to celebrate new life than letting the babies break out of their cribs, break out of those little play mats, and putting them in things that can go anywhere. I know, I'm pretty much a genius. We could also get new toys, little booster seats. I just think this is the perfect time to add that. Other than the game to work well, I'm genuinely curious. What do you all hope happens with this new pack? What are you really wanting to see? And how do you hope death changes? That's all for me. I love you all, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye!